Yeah, so I'm going to just take a look at the living room. About 4,500 microwatts. And interestingly enough, this is a great little meter, quite accurate, available for like $380, and it has a little sister that doesn't have the digits on it. That's $180 or $90. And it's like nobody should like be without a meter because there's no way you can tell what's going on because the landscape's changing all the time.
So it's showing, extreme here. What do you think? What's causing that?
Well, I don't know at this point what's causing it, but there's Wi-Fi someplace in here, and it could be a smart TV. So this is just the initial scan to establish what the levels are before we get into diagnosis and hopefully reduction. Their routers turn off at bedtime.
It's on now, probably, right?
Right, it's on now.
But like right now, so many big increases are like and so that is organized down 500 research projects and teaches at the Carolina Great Institute. And he wrote
Jody, you don't have your cell phone in the pocket, do you?
No, I don't have one on me. But the Wi-Fi is on in the house.
Yeah. And there are some cordless telephone stations around. The one I found was downstairs in the gym.
There's one in the gym, there's one in the kitchen, there's one in my bedroom, there's one in the office.
Okay, so
Not my bedroom, my bathroom.
you hear the buzzing noise. That's characteristic of the cordless phone as opposed to the router.
And when you're talking cordless, you're not talking a cell phone. You're
No.
talking the old-fashioned cordless phones.
Exactly. Right.
With the base stations and the phone. Do you use those exclusively?
No, I have hardwired phones.
But most houses this type have a hardwired phone system, made by Panasonic, and they also come with cordless phones. And in order to make those work, they put these base stations all over the house, and they're like hidden. They're inside. I mean, I found them like inside the commode and inside the sink in the bathroom, behind a drawer. I mean, like they're just. You don't want to see them, right, in a fancy house, and so they hide them, and so nobody knows they're there. We're going to take a look at the master bath. It's strange how the majority of the noise, the sound from the meter is, you can hear the buzzing, right?
Totally.
That's the cordless phone sound, and so that's the strongest radiation we're looking at. So here we're interested in, what are you sleeping in? $8,000. Not so good.
That's too high to sleep, isn't it?
Well,
What's the recommendation?
in my opinion, you ought to be below 10.
10, not 10,000. 10.
10, and this is 8,000, so it's 800 times higher than desirable. We're going to have them turn off their Wi-Fi system, and then we'll resurvey and see how much is left over from the hidden cordless phone transmitters. And they don't even use the cordless phones much. They have wired phones. They don't need them. I would recommend that they find those and they take them out and put them in the trash. The bedroom's at 8,000 microwatts. It's pretty much cordless telephone. Sounds like that's the majority of
I mean,
it.
if I took the cordless telephone out, would that change it?
It's not the base station, it's the transmitter that's hidden up in the closet there that you told me about. Those have to go. You should throw out the entire cordless phone system, find the 4 transmitters or base stations,
Find the what?
find the base stations.
Yeah.
And I'll show you what they look like because I found one in the gym. And just throw them out. Unplug them and throw them out. Your phone system will still work. the
Oh, it will.
hardwired phone system.
Oh, but the portables won't work.
Yeah, and they're bad news. And you should, when you've got a hardwire, you have enough of a problem when you're using your cell phone with your head. Don't use the hardwired system. I mean, don't use the cordless phone system on top of it.
Maybe it requires you to, maybe this is the good news, even though it's going to be the hard news. It requires you to disconnect, literally, and in all kinds of ways. Like, you say get rid of the portable phones, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, now I'm in my bathroom, the phone rings. What do? I have to stop what I'm doing, answer the phone. So maybe it slows me down, maybe it increases my anxiety. I'm not sure.
Right, you're less connected. Either way, right? So if you did that and everyone had less anxiety and felt better, then it might be an option.
Right.
But you don't know until you try.
Well, Jody's saying it'll cause more anxiety if you
I
can't
heard
get to the
that.
phone,
I heard
right?
that. That's what I said. Yes, I heard that it would cause more.
And like, if I'm sitting in my bed and I hardwire my phone, the phone will still ring, right? You
Yeah.
can't text, but the phone will ring.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
So I can make
So
phone calls on
your
my-
computer,
on my cell phone.
only on using an app like Signal.
Okay, so you
Or-
can't make a phone call.
No, you cannot.
Okay.
No, you can't.
But you probably have a plug for a hardwired phone in the bedroom. You could put a
An actual
a
phone.
little, what they call princess phone.
Yeah,
small
Well, I have a phone next to the bed.
Yeah.
It's a hardwired phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Just totally
And you
safe.
can, and you can call forward your cell phone to the landline.
But then, I mean,
It just
you have to make a decision. You have to draw a line in the
Right,
sand and
that's
decide
right.
which side you're
You
on.
do.
That's right.
Because then I could say to you, oh, if I pick up the handheld phone and I'm wanting to multitask, well, then I'm holding it like this, and that's really bad for my neck, and I have neck problems. And so it's like, okay, I have to make the call, stay focused, not multitask, because they say multitasking is actually bad for you,
That's right.
and then get off the phone.
It sounds heavenly to me. But honestly, like you've tried to get a hold of me a couple times, and am I hard to get a hold of? Is it slow going through the stages that I go through? You're actually texting my husband sometimes trying to find me, which is true because I am not connected. And I'm connected enough. I have a hardwired phone. I go on my computer every day, hardwired. I grab my phone every day and I look at my Signal messages. So I'm connected to an extent, but I'm pretty calm. Because, but I do make other people in my life nervous, I think.
There's
Cause of
this whole
anxiety.
issue that these radiations are a central nervous system stimulant.
They are.
So if you're anxious and uptight, is it the business you're engaging in, or is it the environment you're living in with all the RF? Now, I wanted to point out to you, you turn off your Wi-Fi at night, but you do not turn off the signals from this cordless telephone
Right.
system, and that seems to be.
Well, can we unplug that and see
Yeah.
if it changes?
Yeah, we should. The next step, once we see what you're living in, is to go back to see if we can improve it.
Okay.
Whatever we have to do to get it down, we'll do that. I mean, one of the things I want to do, you sleep without the Wi-Fi, we'll turn that off. We'll see what that does, and then if that isn't good enough, we'll unplug the base station for your
Yep.
cordless phone system in that room and see what it does. It's 8,000 microwatts per square meter, but the number is 8,000, and you'd like to be at 10 or less. So it's 800 times what is a preferable level.
Okay.
And the way I say that, not because it's my opinion, but because if you take a look at this, which is just a few of the thousands of health studies about what happens, these are the levels we're talking about. And you're at 8,000, which is like about here. It affects the immune system functioning, increases calcium metabolism in the heart, which is associated with heart attacks, right? Decreased cognition and well-being, adverse neurological and cardio, increased cancer risk, headache, neurological, sleep, concentration problems during the day, fatigue, headache, sleep problems. So all the way down here, we're at 10. So there's some indication that these things are happening even down to as far as 1. But we're in the living room, which, and with the start of this entire process of looking at the house, was measuring 4,500 microwatts per square meter. So we have determined that the source of that was A, the Wi-Fi system in the house, and B, the cordless telephone system, which is a separate system in the house. When we turned off the Wi-Fi, which is a centrally located unit, like in the middle of the house, the numbers went from 4,500 here in the living room to 820. So it's a significant effect from that Wi-Fi. It was a very powerful Wi-Fi, but we were still left with 820. So we decided to unplug one of the 4 cordless telephone stations that happens to be quite close in the kitchen to the living room. And we went then from 820 to 49. So now we're getting kind of like down to what is probably the ambient level from outside. Keeping in mind, we still have another cordless phone station someplace.
But you could leave plugged in,
You can leave it
right?
plugged in. I mean, this is good for like daytime. You know, people can still, you said, get on the cordless telephone. When you get the ECOS router.
But my question to you is, right now, the Wi-Fi's off.
Right.
It's not realistic for me to have the Wi-Fi off.
No,
all
but when
the
you get the ECOS system, it won't be off. It'll be available to people who've got to have it.
Okay.
When they leave, then it won't be on.
And then I've noticed that it turns off by itself after like 5 or 10 minutes of not using it. It's not like instant. It just like goes dead. after
Right, but then I have to
10
have everybody in the house turn their phones onto airplane mode.
Not really, because the worst exposure is that what they're giving themselves. It's not going to affect you or the living spaces from, you know.
We haven't looked at the
Tiara's
office,
phone
so we
isn't
don't,
gonna affect
we don't know what the
Okay.
situation is in the office. But the router you have down there now is extremely powerful. In other words, we're going through all this concrete, 50 feet, and we're still measuring 820 here. So when we get the ECOS router, and what does it take for your phone or your pad to work? One microwatt and it'll work. 10, it'll be good. So we can tone down the ECOS either with a box, or if it's possible to turn it down electronically, we can get it to the lowest possible level that still allows everybody to be happy.